good to see all of these friendly faces here. We're the Alphabettes Mentorship team. I'm Liron, and we have Shani.
Hi, thank you for coming.
And we have Veronica.
Hello, hi, thank you for coming. Great to have you all.
And we have Katie.
Hello, awesome to see you all.
And Eleni.
Hello, hi. Super nice to have you all.
So we're all from all around the world, you too, and it's nice that we found the time together. And today's program is going to be 10 of our amazing mentees who just finished or about to finish the program, and they're going to showcase their work, and also they're going to share the process. So we're going to see some behind the scenes, not just the final outcomes, and they're going to share some of their learnings and how their communication with their mentor was. So we did a test run, so we can already tell you that this is going to be super inspiring. We're all just so humbled that this program is doing what it's doing, and the mentors are amazing, and the mentees are creating phenomenal things, which you will see in just one moment. At the end of the presentations, we're going to have a special Alphabettes Mentorship Program announcement. We're going to tell when we're reopening the program for new applicants, and it's going to be exciting news.
Before we even start and kind of dive into all of these amazing projects, we just wanted to thank from the bottom of our hearts to all of our amazing mentors. This couldn't have been done without you. We're so thankful and so excited to have this opportunity to thank you here. And if you want now, if I can ask everyone here to actually unmute themselves, and we can have an audio round of applause for all of our amazing mentors. That would be really amazing. We'll make us very happy. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Really great.
So I've seen Sharda, though rarely, but I could not see a route or a structure for it. In its existing form, it seems a bit vague and may vanish soon. I'm a Kashmiri Pandit, and Sharda was used by my ancestors extensively for writing our ancient documents. Prominent scripts like Devanagari, Gurmukhi, and languages like Sanskrit are its derivatives. But now we can see its last traces only in some religious writings and recitations of the Kashmiri Pandit community. So my parents, their birth chart, we call it the Zatak. It is also in Sharda, but none of us can read it. So it is very disheartening to see that. And so I thought there is a need that we organize it. And hence I started collecting the scattered, lost, and unknown features. So hi everyone, this is my mentor, Miss Emily Bonnet, and I am Asmita Jalali. So Miss Emily is an independent type designer and font engineer based in Berlin, Germany. She has worked on various projects involving different writing systems like Devanagari, Oriya, Greek, etc. Her design Nokia Pure Bengali was also awarded at the Grandshin competition in 2014. As for me, I'm an independent graphic designer and type enthusiast. I don't have a formal training in type design. I help NGOs and early startups with their communication collaterals. So currently, I am an R&D trainee at Monotype Solution India. And my journey with type began after I was awarded the third runner-up for my logo design at the International Typo Day conference that was held in Sri Lanka by the University of Moratuwa in collaboration with IIT IDC. So the project. So I started this project keeping in mind what we had and what had to be done. So my synopsis described that Sharda is currently available as manuscripts and no font that can be used is available. Also presently, Devanagari has replaced Sharda as a medium for its learning and writing. So I started understanding the script, the tools and the anatomy of the letter forms. Next, keeping the anatomy in mind, I developed a writing system which would act as a base for my letter development. Also, in order to keep the essence of the manuscript intact, I did not deviate much from the basic anatomy. I just tried to refine it and bring all the letters in perfect sync. So here you can see the journey of letter A from how it looks in the manuscript and how I refined it over time. And you can have a closer look at what was changed in it. So here are a few shots from the process that was adopted and a test draft to see if I was moving in the right direction and what needed to improve. I asked my mentor to help me understand the Unicode and mark positioning specifically. So the time allotted to us was 1 month, and we decided that we would have 2 sessions per week, wherein firstly she went through the work that I had done, and then she guided me, and whatever she guided me with, I would incorporate it, and she would have a look at it in the next session, and we would discuss it and then move forward. So this is how the screen initially looked before the Unicode mapping. Screen, you can see that it is more sorted. We color coded the conjuncts, the matras, the vowels separately for instant recognition, and then we mapped the Unicode for letters and conjuncts. So here I have taken an example of conjunct tra, which is a combination of ta and ra. So next she guided me with the anchoring or the mark positioning, and this is the anchoring done for letter kha. So while she was guiding me with the above pointers, she had a look at the letter forms and she suggested that they look more elongated than what they look in the manuscript. So I realized that I had started drafting the letters after seeing the individual characters instead of focusing on the letters as a part of the system. This was a point that I realized I had missed. So these were few major learnings and fine tunings that we did throughout the session. So my big journey here is to understand that with the deterioration of core Sharda, how can its derivatives like Devanagari and Gurmukhi help me with its revival? This is the initial character set. So there is a long way to go still, but my aim is to provide a proper font to people who are learning Sharda currently in different workshops. Though they are learning it to write Sanskrit, but I feel that once it comes out, it will help our community. They can also utilize it and try reviving what we have lost. So yeah, so these were all the major learnings and fine tunings that we did. And I'm very thankful that Miss Emily, she not only she just structured my study with special emphasis on helping me understand what Unicode and Anchor and or mark positioning was. So I'm very thankful to her and the Alphabettes mentorship team that they helped me connect with such a beautiful and great mentor.
My presentation will be about a type research. There aren't any beautiful images. My slides are in Spanish, and I translate them to English as I present them. I am Carolina Giovagnoli, and I am a type designer from Argentina. I am currently living in Berlin. It all started a few years ago, in 2010, when I fell in love with the typographical issue in Latin American language during my type design specialization. I started to research the Guarani language, one of the most widely spoken American language, used in Paraguay and neighboring community. I collected a lot of information, photos, and notes from the Mitre Archive in Buenos Aires and from the library of the Ibero-American Institute in Berlin. At this point, I had a big and organized research corpus, and I didn't have a concrete subject. I knew that I should focus in something specific, but I didn't know how to start. I read about the mentorship program in winter 2020, and I submitted my application. I needed help. I wanted to move to the next level in my research. My most important goal was to learn how to do an historical research, how to organize the information and make something useful with it, and if possible, publish it. A few weeks later, I received a mail from the Alphabettes team, and I read that Professor Dan Reynolds could be my mentor. I was a little afraid about that. I already knew him. I had read his articles, and he was a real researcher. I thought that my work could be too little and boring for him. With the first meeting came my main two issues. The mentorship would be in English, and my English is basic, and I often mixed it with German, Spanish, or Italian. The second issue was that I worked from home with my children and everything around me, and it looked unprofessional, and I didn't want this. Dan was extremely patient with my mixed language, and he works from home too. We were going to go together for 3 months. I had a lot of questions and no brief. I told him about my project and my goal, and he showed me a panoramic view of the situation and the potential of my work. He told me about the different kinds of articles and research, and told me about the sources and where I can find more information. For the second meeting, I had a plan. My research focus would be the typographical representation of the glottal stop between 1640 and 1950. The glottal stop is a consonantal sound used in many spoken language. It has different typographical representation. In Guarani language, it is represented by the saltillo or the simple quote. This letter has a particular name in Guarani, puso. Dan led me without putting pressure on me. I started to organize the material, and I made a datasheet from each book. I started to write, and I was sending the material to Dan by email, and we discussed it in our meeting. In my opinion, Professor Reynolds is a wonderful teacher. He listened carefully and showed me a panoramic view of possibility. I chose the best option for me, and he supported me to reach my goal. Nowadays, I am in the final stages of my article, and I really want to finish and publish it. This experience encouraged me to publish another article in a book about the social role of design. Working together with my mentor showed me my work from another perspective. Now I can see my research from a different way, even a few that I didn't know. We built a plan together. This is my first historical investigation, and I am happy to provide it as a starting point for future research and debate on this theme, on this subject. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy that I'm surrounded by a type passionate community. I am Christiana Pilla. I'm a graphic designer that lives in Thessaloniki in Greece. I'm going to quickly show you some of my works that I have done before the mentorship. I started this Alphabettes Mentorship because I really love to draw letters, and I felt the need to improve this skill. So these are some of my works. My mentor was Melissa Marzan. She's a graphic designer that is based in Santa Cruz in California. She's a graphic designer that she loves to illustrate lettering and illustrations based on more ocean-related theme. So this is her work. And despite the fact that we have a big time difference and we had both busy schedules, we had an excellent communication, and I'm very thankful for that. So what was my starting point for this mentorship? As I already told you, I love to draw letters, but I felt the need that I need to learn it in a more proper way. So I need some guidance for that. And I needed some feedback for my creations. And In this way, I moved on with my goal. I will move on with my goals and the brief that I set to myself. I wanted to find my personal style through this mentorship and to create and to boost actually my portfolio with more analog or digital lettering creations. We communicated with Melissa 6 times through Zoom, and in the same time we were communicating for additional information through mail and through Messenger. Here you can see the topics of each of our calls. I wanted just to let you know that the whole mentorship was based on the discussion that we had from the beginning with Melissa, based on the goals and the needs that I wanted from this collaboration. But most of the times she was just giving me feedback from my creations. I wanted to share with you some of my notes, initial notes, because in my research to find out what I wanted to learn, Melissa told me that I have to write down a list about what I love, what I care about, and what makes me happy. And after writing them down, the combination of them will give me a unique solution, a unique creative solution that will lead me to my style. So I started to letter some phrases that I found interesting and that expressed me. I found a specific palette, the feedback on these was that I have to reduce the embellishments and to reduce and to stay focused more on the letter form. And that's why I continued and I created some pencil lettering, more concrete lettering. I did some script lettering, serif one and sans serif. Here you can see some of my feedback on the left of Melissa, and the guidelines, the color guidelines are here. She put them in order to help me to understand my mistakes. What feedback I have to give to myself now after this mentorship have passed is that maybe I had to stay more focused in one artwork and try to make it perfect. But because I'm really enthusiastic and I want to try different words, different phrases, I was just doing, keeping her feedback, but continuing with a new phrase. So that's a small feedback from me now. So a groundbreaking moment of this mentorship was my decision to take part in the 100 days of lettering. I started it while we were doing the 3-month mentorship with Melissa. She inspired me to do it because she told me that in order to find what I want to create is to experiment and to try to create something with your hands. So I'm going to show you quickly some of my works of this of the challenge. Just to let you know, if you don't know the challenge, you have to create every day for 100 days to letter, yes, a word or a phrase or whatever you want. So I did some pencil lettering, I did some leaves lettering. As you can see, this one and the next one are one of my personal favorite. And as Melissa told me, these were the ones that stood out from the rest, and maybe they were closer to me. And I think that this mix and match and the collage, the mix and match of organic shapes was something that I really enjoyed as a procedure. So here is a ribbon lettering with a Greek word. Here is some food lettering with the mandarins, an analog one, a digital piece, and some paper cut, and the sign lettering that it was really scary in my mind at the beginning, but I really enjoyed it. Actually, it's a phrase that it means Happy New Year in Greek. So my conclusions is that through this mentorship actually gave me a huge actually creative boost, and a wonderful person that I can share my lettering concerns. And she was very helpful, and I'm very thankful for her helping me so much. And my general conclusion to that is that being consistent to yourself through daily practice and through experimentation can lead to real progress. I really believe that, and I saw it actually, because every day I was waking up and I was creating something new. and it fulfilled me a lot. To be honest, I don't have a clear personal style, but I think that I'm on my way, and I have found the path that will lead me, that it will reveal this thing. So thank you, Alphabettes. Thank you, Melissa. About the future, I want to create some prints and stationery with more vibrant illustrations and lettering. And I'm working on the concept that I worked with Melissa too.
Hi, my name is Agnieszka Ewa Olszewska, but I use my second name, Eva. I'm from Poland, and if there was lately a lot about Poland, it's probably because the abortion ban and women on strike, LGBT-free zones, and dictatorship, autocratic direction. And that's why usually when I introduce myself lately, I'm adding I'm against the current government and I'm not homophobic. Yeah. And I applied to Alphabettes Mentorship to find help to create fully functional typeface and having questions about future type design business possibilities. I didn't attend any one-year type design course, and I created before mentorship fonts, but I did them in very old FontLab version. I bought my current Glyphs license in 2019, so I thought that there could be some issues I wasn't aware of, or I could miss some important part of knowledge about technical aspects. I thought I could get some help on that to feel more confident about my work. At that time, I got a quite advanced level of work. At my two top typefaces, Zania and Snubble, I got already some tips on them during critic crew meetings, but I thought that having someone for longer could be nice. So Laila, my mentor, saw my fonts after already a lot of work. I got from her detailed tips. They were also interesting, and I think Zania gained a lot from them. In typeface design, details playing an important role. With Zania, I have some tough time. It's at the moment in 3 weights, and all the time I feel like I'm gonna release it in next week, but in the end, I'm finding something to change and I'm spending 2 extra days on it. Snubble is already released on my fonts, Creative Market, and on my website. It's in 3 weights, bold, regular, and thin. I did some graphic design to show how you can use it. This absinthe bottle was the first product that came to my mind. Somehow it fits, in my opinion, to the Secession, and Snubble is inspired by Secession. Later, I tried on other alcohols like beer and other products. It's very easy to arrange. That's the main reason why I'm confident that it's a good typeface. In the beginning, I was wondering which products would fit, but after some tests, it was obvious it fits to even a bit randomly picked products like stickers. I will first say what I think in general about mentorship program. From my perspective, it was good from supporting part. I live in Poland, directly in small city, 15 kilometers far from Warsaw. So I'm near, but I'm not directly in. And this is how I feel from my type design perspective too. I feel here like total solo player, everybody showing their muscles, and I'm a 152 centimeters tall girl. So I guess partly this is what I get from the mentorship community, people in some ways support. For sure, I wouldn't apply to be a type weekend speaker if I wouldn't belong to the mentorship Slack group. It's good to see other people attempt and have some people remind you that you don't get success right after starting something. It's a long-term process. Because I stuck with my typefaces and from time to time I did lettering pieces, I ended up talking with Laila about type design industry. She suggests some places where I could send my typefaces, how could I promote them, where I can sell them. She told me what she's planning to do next. I heard what was her path. It helped me to orient myself a bit where I am as a type designer. Laila was working some years as a type designer in Hallmark and finished Type at Cooper program. She's from US and know well US market. So for me, it was very interesting and gave me some feedback and sense how it looked there. Interesting to notice some new possibilities, or even lack of them. I'm a fan of having both feet on the ground approach. What I got from the project, I think the best one is a bit more confidence. If you are mostly alone and see around only stars, because this is what is visible on nowadays internet success story, it's easy to lose interest if you are on your own. If you constantly like not enough, it's nice to see that there are a lot of people making also first steps and having some support from them. We live in very competitive worlds, and it's good to meet empathetic and compassionate people.
This is me, Kritika, and my mentor, Suchita. She's an experienced typeface designer who has worked with type foundries like InkType and Tipotech on multiple font design projects of Latin, Gurmukhi, Kannada, and Oriya scripts. And as for me, I am a graphic design graduate, a type enthusiast, and I'm currently working as a UI UX designer in Mumbai. I'll be talking about our 3-month-long journey together as part of the mentorship program. As a starting point, we had an introduction call and set up our project on Basecamp in order to have everything documented in one place. We decided that we would structure short assignments and meet on a weekly basis. So for the introduction assignment, I worked on creating a personal statement along with a glimpse of all the work I had done related to type. I got to express my understanding of type design, my purpose for doing this program, and where I see myself in the type industry. This was an important assignment to align our goals and expectations of the program and to mutually define a brief together. So the brief that we decided on was to explore Gujarati type and type design and to design my own typeface as far as possible. Gujarati is my mother tongue, and I always wanted to do something with the script as an attempt to feel more connected to my roots. Diving into the project work, the first set of exercises were focused on research and critical thinking. My mentor's approach to learning about type design emphasized a lot on research, reading, and understanding the history of the script. It was also important to learn about the anatomy with the right terminologies and acquaint myself with the different works that had already been done in the field. Next came calligraphy, and the objective of learning calligraphy was to understand the writing system better, the structure and the movement of all the letters. I got to try on some traditional instruments like these bamboo reed pens and actually handcraft the nib of the pen myself. Then I did a fun exercise on letter explorations where I picked the letter fur and drew its skeleton in different stylistic variations, some super abstract and some very conventional. There was no range of the variation defined, but there was an underlying idea to at least make sure the letter was still recognizable. I shortlisted a few styles and then tried to replicate them to another set of unique letters that had different characteristic features. It was important to see how the same style would work across more letters in the family, because at the end of the day, all the letters need to visually belong together. I also started adding flesh explorations to my styles. And here the calligraphy practice helped a lot to gauge where I could add weight to the character. Of all the explorations I did, the italic style was my favorite. So I decided to take that forward and started drawing different variations of the characters. Since I was drawing the style digitally, I played a lot around with the contrast in the weight, the slant, the angle of the slant, and some details like the ink trappers. I'm still working on cracking the final form of some letters, but more often than not, even the initial form that you start off with evolves with time to suit the whole family. Like in my case, on the bottom left, you can see that the curve form I started has already changed significantly. This screenshot exactly portrays how all of our weekly feedback sessions went. We would be on a video call and I would be sharing my screen with the glyphs file and the calligraphy reference next to each other. I would take her through all the work I had done during the week, and my mentor ensured that we discussed every design decision in detail. Over the course of the program, we attempted to explore as many things as possible and try to touch base on more things. So we would have conversation to stay updated about the ever-evolving font technologies. So I read up about variable fonts and tried exporting a variable version of the letter per. And I even recreated the same letter in 3D just for fun. These experiments prove that the type design is intricate and disciplined, but at the same time, it can be fun and experimental. Drawing the matras was one of my first experiments. These are some of my first experiments with the matras. And then we also tried touching base on spacing. My mentor ensured that I could at least learn the basic technique of doing spacing before the program ended. At this point, the project is still in a very early work in progress state, and there's just so much more to do. The next steps are going to be expanding and evolving the character set, spacing, kerning, coding, etc. I will also continue to keep connecting with my mentor and other experienced Gujarati typeface designers. And eventually, my goal is to release a variable Gujarati display typeface. Apart from the project work we were working on together, I decided to document and blog about my journey online. I wanted to do this as my attempt to give back to the type community that gave me this incredible opportunity in the first place. I hope that anyone interested in learning about Gujarati type can benefit out of it and hopefully have a secondhand experience of the process. I've already posted 3 articles and will keep uploading more on my website. On an ending note, I just want to thank the Alphabettes team for being such awesome matchmakers, to my mentor for being so helpful, patient, and a good educator. And the program was very bespoke to my interests in type design and has inspired me to continue exploring type further. Thank you.
My starting point were these super old metal signs in my city, La Paz. With a lot of new buildings, these are less and less visible, and some even get rid of them. So I wanted to preserve their design and style in some way. So my project is also, well, we could say it's a type revival, right? So about the mentee and mentor, very quick info about me. My name is Matthew Prada. I'm a graphic designer and professor. I've been freelancing since around 2012, always with a strong focus on custom lettering jobs, mostly logotypes, and I've been teaching typography at the university for 5 years now. To be clear, I teach the fundamentals of using type, not the type design itself. My mentor is Trinka Bulhubasic. She's a professional type designer with many amazing typefaces and other works, graduated from Type at Hooper and Type Media. She has a design studio with Hen Ramirez called Dual Type. And well, overall, anyone could say she's a top-notch type designer with very expressive letter works and also super chill and kind person. So the brief, back to the project, some of the objectives that I have for the typeface. First of all, I want it to be a free font, mainly because in my country, Bolivia, you can count the people who design type with one hand. So there's a lot of room to contribute to the typography area. Another objective for the font is to have decent legibility, not only for signage, but also for print and screen formats and overall a typeface that can have a wide range of use. The original signs don't have lowercase letters, so that's also an important aspect, and of course, to give it good language support. About the mentorship process, I felt that it mainly focused on some actual type design aspects and decision making. Something close to a type critique, but with more depth and room for feedback. When designing any font, one of the difficult parts is the decision making about the letter design itself. Here, my mentor Trinka helped me with great insight on what aspects to communicate. And a big eye-opener for me was that she mentioned the fact that one, as the type designer, has the power to choose like everything about the typeface. For instance, you can decide to ignore some aspects of the original letter reference in order to give the new one a better consistency and look. Here you can see that with a slight structure modification, the expression can change from more serious to very friendly and even playful. I think this is a good showcase of the decision making that has to follow certain directions for the letter system to work well. My mentor also sent me some specific resources for reference, which also helped a lot. So this is the result for now. Of course, it's not finished at all. Needs a lot more refining, and I don't have diacritics and many other symbols yet that are still in process. But overall, I'm very happy with this initial look and feel. And I don't know if I could have achieved this quality without the help of the mentorship. So I'm sure that thanks to the program, I leveled up type-wise. For the future, I mentioned before that it's going to be a free font, and Trinka made a great suggestion to why not make it even more accessible to everyone and make it open source. So that's going to happen. And also, I'll definitely expand its family with some weight and with variants. And for more distant future, I might try a variable version, who knows? One of the questions was, what's the ideal or a dream that you have as a mentee? Well, one of my dreams is to have the opportunity to collab with a big foundry or even get a typeface selected by a publisher like Google Fonts. You can dream, right? So lessons learned, as I told you before, what I take from the mentorship is the importance on having confidence when the decision time takes place. And of course, now it's a lot more clear that type designs relies heavily on visual consistency, which is a bit different than lettering, which is my main job, because you are designing a whole working system, not just a couple words. And that's it. I'm very grateful with the Alphabettes team, not only for selecting me for this showcase, but for the whole mentorship program, and many, many thanks to Trinka. You helped me big time, and I'll always remember and apply your advice whenever I design type. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Oliver, and this is my Alphabettes Mentorship Showcase presentation. So there's me and Eleni. It's, I guess, the only photo there is of us on Zoom. So, of course, it had to be on Zoom. And what we did was these weekly design briefs and feedback sessions the week after, which each one would teach me new skills, and it was really good for the limited time that I had because of uni work. It also meant that I didn't get too close and too precious to each project, which allowed me, I guess, to learn a lot more. So the first project was the word corona. I mean, this was way back at the start of the pandemic. And it had to be a black weight and high translation contrast. So this is my first attempt. It doesn't really know what it wants to be, but we sort of cleared it up and made it look a bit like this. So it's got these brushy serifs instead of what it had before. We opened up the C a lot. We made the stroke widths more consistent, and we added a few more characters. So yeah, this taught me sort of about the difference between translation and expansion, and about like finding a consistent style. So the next project was the word bubble, and it had to be a black weight but in an outline. So this was something I'd never done before, but here you go. It was, at first the outline was like really rigid and lifeless, but we gave it some subtle width variations to make it a lot less sterile. And this like really helped train my eye for subtle variations and forced me to explore something totally new. So that was really cool. So the next task was a set of numbers for the shirts of my local football team. So this is one of the really cool things, is that all the projects were like tailored specifically to my interests. So this is what I came up with, just based on this sort of strict geometric rule and pattern. As you can see, the A, the 8, sorry, needs a bit of work. And there it is on. I just photoshopped it onto their kit. It doesn't look that legible, so they probably wouldn't use it. So yeah, and they sort of taught me about how to apply like optical adjustments within a strict geometrical grid, and also just about how to distinguish numbers from one another. So the next one was all caps sans serif in a regular way, and I had to do both the backslant and the italic. So here it is. And I think what this taught me was just about how to slant both complex and simple letter forms, and also like how slanting it really like distorts the characters and how to deal with that. The next one was really cool. It was black letters. That's something that I've been interested in for some time. And the word was fraktur. So this is my first attempt. There's not really a lot of logic or rhythm to it, but this is what we came up with in the end. I liked how we cut out that section in the middle stroke on the A, which I think really improves the sort of balance of the character overall. Of course, I had to put it on a football shirt too, and yeah. So the next brief was this, essentially whatever I wanted to do, and I was really inspired by the Electro-Harmonix logo and how sort of psychedelic it looks. So this is a little process shot. Eleni was telling me to get rid of the serifs that I'd sort of crowbarred in there because they really don't work. And I disagreed at first, but then absolutely, changed my mind because she was totally right. So this is the final piece where it's at now, and just some lyrics of a song I like. And yeah, I think this really helped me to sort of, it gave me confidence in exploring sort of more creative type solutions instead of sort of just trying to go by the book a bit. So yeah, thanks a lot. If anyone wants to get in contact or anything, then I've put my Instagram handle and an email address at the bottom. Thanks.
I'm Rafia Jessa. This is my project Bloom. I'm not really a type designer, I'm a graphic designer. I spend a lot of time drawing a lot of letters, but I've never really worked with type per se. And something that I've been working on was these illustrated floral letters. I don't really work in one position necessarily. I kind of travel around and work as a freelance graphic designer. So this is something that I had been doing as I was wandering around. Initially, I started using Bedoni as a base, kind of cutting it out, using it as a stencil and illustrating the pattern inside. And then I started kind of disliking how they were turning out. I didn't like the proportions of them. So I thought it would be kind of cool to try to make my own typeface. On the top left there, you can see my very kind of pathetic attempt in trying to make something that made sense a little bit. And so I started using those as a base, using them as a stencil, cutting them out, and then illustrating them. I got to a point that I was quite happy with how everything was looking, and I wanted to make it into a digital typeface. This is when I applied to the Alphabettes Mentorship Program, and I got assigned Andrea Ograda as my mentor, which was really awesome because this ended up being quite a tedious project. So one of the first things that he did, I scanned all of the ones that I had and sent it over to him, which was very helpful because I kind of, as I said, not really had any idea of proportions and spacing and things of the sort. And he really made me understand just how to get started, thinking about it as more than just an illustration and an actual functional, like adjustments and typeface settings, things of the sort. And one of the things that we started doing, which was a little painful to me, I was very resistant in doing this. He told me to make them really small, print them out all on a piece of paper, and instead of illustrating a giant letter, illustrate a very small one, so I couldn't put too many details. I have a passion for just making things that are super tedious and like super detailed. So doing this kind of restricted me from putting too much information, which would be a nightmare to turn into vectors. So this, you can kind of see, is what the nightmare looks like. It was really fun to do, but it was really a very long process. So once I had finished the really small illustrations, put them back on the computer, and I started vectorizing them. Our mentorship was supposed to be 3 months, but because this was such a long process and it required a lot of patience, we actually had to extend it to 6 months because it was taking so long. And so once everything was done and illustrated, the next step was to cut out the forms from the letter shape. Again, kind of like a tedious thing to do, but it was also a cool lesson to learn step by step how to make something illustrated that can also be functional. Once the shapes had been cut out, something that I didn't know was that you cannot have any lines when you're making a typeface. I had used this like really cool kind of handmade looking kind of line work that had to be converted into something more simple. So every step of the way, I had to kind of like give up something, which was really sad in a way. Once everything had been made into lines and had to be turned into objects that had to be combined with the letter form so that everything was one piece. And also something that I learned is if you're making a typeface, each letter can only have 1,000 points. So I had to go and kind of redraw it again to simplify it to make sure each letter only had 1,000 points, which is kind of insane. But it was very therapeutic. So after the 6-month process, this is where we were at. I really like it. I'm very kind of like happy with where I came to. This is something I've been working on for around 2 years now. Like a passion project of me drawing flowers and drawing letters. Now it's become something kind of that is like real, and maybe I can even make it into a cool typeface. I really like it. So the mentorship is obviously over, but I've still been working on the project very slowly since now I have to kind of figure things out on my own, which is not very easy. Since the end of when I stopped working with Andre, I've also started making this form. As you can see, it's not done. The age obviously needs a lot of help, but it's something that I'm slowly working on. It's something that I've come to learn is to have patience if I want something really particular. I've also been working on the punctuation. This is what I have so far. I'm still trying to figure out how to put it into the Glyphs app and figure the punctuation out. It's quite difficult. And so after all of this, I really just want to thank Andre for all of his patience. Literally 6 months, he listened to me complain about drawing vectors for 8 hours a day. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with me and being so patient. And I also really wanted to thank the Alphabettes program, because without this program, I still probably would have a bunch of really cool hand-drawn illustrations without any idea how to actually make a typeface. So thank you for accepting me into your program. It was really, really nice. Thank you, guys.
Hello everyone, I'm Sophia and I'm currently a master's typeface design student at the University of Reading. And my mentor was Jessie Reagan, who runs the X1Z Type Foundry with Ben Keel. And Jessie also co-founded the Type at Cooper program in the United States. So the reason that I joined the Alphabettes Mentorship Program is because after I graduated from a graphic and media design course from my bachelor's, I mainly worked as a UX UI designer in tech startups. So after I got admitted to the Master's Typeface course, I was quite nervous about my transition into the typeface design industry and felt that I needed some support and guidance throughout my year. So instead of focusing on just a single project, my main reason that I wanted to join the mentorship was to get guidance and to be able to ask questions about navigating the course so that I can make the most of it. How can I learn as much as I can in this 1 year that I'm here? And Jesse's experience around Type at Cooper and his insight were really great to give me some. He also helped me get a bigger picture by sharing his own decade-long experiences. So a lot of it for him, which may be common sense now, for me is stuff that I didn't know anything about. I also wanted to know better how I should think as a student who wants to get into the industry after I finish my studies. So Jesse also helped me a lot by focusing on the right things and making a lot of suggestions and giving me a lot of advice by navigating the industry and finding out what opportunities are out there and what it could be like to work in different kind of areas or positions. The way that we started our mentorship was we set up our boundaries and some logistics. So we agreed that we shouldn't email each other unless it's less than a minute to type it out, and otherwise we should face-to-face calls, which I really like because it made it much more personable. And we met around twice a month, basically. So another thing that I approached Jesse with was an older project that I worked on. This is Draco. I graduated with this project from my BA course. It's a stenciled reverse stress, super bold typeface for display. It was also selected to be shown at the graduates degree show. Not everyone got to participate in the show, so I'm actually super happy that Straco got to be part of it. After that, I tried to show it in as many places as I could. So it was featured in the typography edition of Design Calendar. It was shown in Beijing at the Here and There exhibition. And I also presented it at Type Thursday London event. But apart from it being shown, not much happened to Straco for it being a typeface design. So I approached Jesse and asked for some help and advice on what I can do to take it further and make it more functional. He helped me a lot with applications, gave me suggestions on where I could apply, gave me a lot of feedback on the typeface itself, the specimen design, even helped me with the text for the applications and who I can reach out to ask further questions. And actually, I found a platform who, for now, I'll keep it a mystery, but they like Straco and they offered an opportunity to take it further. And I've been following this platform for a while now, so it's kind of a mini dream come true. So for next steps, apart from planning further for Straco, I really want to focus on the master's course. It's only 1 year and it's a really great opportunity to be connected to all of the people here. And for my dream, I guess, would be to do type design full-time after I finish this course. Would it be to find work at a type foundry and to learn the ropes, or to get some form of funding or scholarship so that I can support myself while I work further on Straco and other projects. So for my learnings, I would say that good mentorship is very rare and it's a really great opportunity. It's really important to appreciate when you come across good people and when you get lucky. I think I got both this time. So it's really something that I appreciate and want to honor. You know, I don't think I could have achieved this without the help of Alphabettes and matching me to someone like Jessie. So I'm super grateful for all of your help. I received a lot of encouragement and support, so much good advice on navigating and understanding the bigger picture. So yeah, to anyone who is hesitating on joining the program, I hope this will encourage you. And yes, thank you. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to chat, I guess.
Hi, my name is Tamara. I'm a graphic designer from Mexico City. I've got into lettering a few years back, and shortly after that, I got more and more interested about type. I didn't really know about all the how-tos or like what to do with that. So I applied to the Alphabettes program sometime during April, I think it was from last year. And I got matched with Romina, who is like has been the best during this whole process. I had a lot of doubts about like what to do with the typefaces and how to finish them. And she really helped me with all of those. So like after a couple back and forth through email, we settled on a starting day for the mentorship. And during our first meeting, we talked about how we both got into letters, what I was looking for in the mentorship, and we set some goals. She also reviewed my portfolio, and we decided on a project that I had been working on for a couple of months, and I wasn't really getting anywhere with it. So we chose that as our starting point. So my brief was like a hand-painted sign inspired typeface. They are hand-drawn letters from food markets and stores in Mexico City. It has a bit of a casual script feeling to it, but it also needs very functional characteristics, such as it needs to be condensed, caps, and it definitely needed to have a number set. So we started working on that, and this is where we started. And then Romina really helped me with all of her notes. And a big part of this was that she really encouraged me to reach out to other designers to get different perspectives. So with a little help from the TypeGrid group, I had a couple sessions and I was feeling more confident about the result we were getting at. So Mercado has now changed a lot from the point where it started. And even though I still have a long way to go, Ro has been super helpful during this whole process. She would also send me links about type related stuff, or like how to, like small links about how to prove better. And she also showed me what was the best way to prove the typeface so that the mistakes and the errors would come through. And one of the things that I liked the most was that she would show me different ways of fixing the issues so that I would know what the type should look like. She showed me that type isn't set in stone. Like it depends a lot on what you want to get to and the final product and the vibe that you want to show through. And like so far, this is where we're at. Like sometimes I had to go back to the markers and the brush and the pencil because just drawing in glyphs or rope font wasn't really doing much for the letters. So I had to do this back and forth a couple times. And so far, this is where Mercado is at. It's not finished yet. I'm still working on it, and I'm trying to decide whether like I should expand the like some weights in the family, and hopefully in the near future it will like see the light. I'm also super thankful to the Alphabettes Mentorship Program, and especially to Romina, who after all the pandemics is over, I'm hoping I'm actually able to meet her in person, like maybe get together for a cup of tea. So like it's also really good that we're in the same city. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we couldn't meet in person before. Hopefully we'll do it sometime soon. And thank you.
last presentation and another great chance to say thank you to our mentors. I think this presentation proved this amazing potential we have. And again, we could have never done it without you guys. So again, thank you so much. I want to give a big shout out to Sofia Janina Boishevitz, and I do apologize for probably mispronouncing her name. The music came from her radio mixtape, and I just put the link in the channels if you want to check it out for yourselves later on. She's also a wonderful graphic designer and type designer, so we're really happy to have you hear her sounds as well. We wanted also to thank Lipi Raval for the amazing logo which she designed, and all of you can use for free with Google Fonts. It was lovely to work with it, and we had a lot of fun designing this event with it. So thank you, Lipi. And now we got to the exciting part when just before we say goodbye, we have some updates and news that we would like to share with you all today. Vic, will you do the honors?
Okay. So last year we kind of got, I must say, overwhelmed by a lot of mentee applications, which is fantastic. And we also managed to get a lot of wonderful mentors, but we decided to be able to cope with this and to really make sure that we do the matching right, that we have enough kind of time and we can really deep dive into everybody's wishes. We decided to go with 2 terms where we open for applications. So we do the spring and the autumn term, and we are starting now on the 21st of March. We'll have the applications open for 2 weeks only. So you can prepare your applications before. These are kind of questions that especially the mentees really need to think about. We try to tell us the best you can, what you expect, what your kind of intentions are, and how you think a mentor can help, because that again helps us to match you. And on the other hand, actually the mentors, because now that we have quite a big bunch of them, we don't know them all personally, and so we need as much information from the mentor too, right? Be it kind of a link to their website or where they work, or a little bit of just background information and their interests, of course, as well. So we know how to match. We can really try to find the best possible. Of course, we are always still looking for mentors. In the application form, you will see different fields and topics. So we have, of course, type design, but also typography, lettering, production, actually in particular font production. Women, please, 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 all you wonderful ladies who know about font production, be our mentors. But as we've seen with Carolina, it's not all about type design, it's also about research, about education, about questions in business and so on. So really anything kind of type related, feel free to apply. And if you have any questions in the meantime before March, you can always drop us an email. Thank you again to everybody being here. It's a wonderful turnout. And thank you to you mentees for preparing these presentations. Really great stuff, great work. And a huge thank you to the mentors.